Toys. This is what we're going to be talking about today in the Escape Pod. Welcome back, Escapers. I'm your host, Dave, and I'm going to talk about some toys today and talk about some of the talking about toys that I grew up on and that make me feel kind of nostalgic, and some that I still have collector's editions of and everything. But before we do that, we have to go into our headlines. So, WandaVision, the latest episode, took place mostly outside of the kind of that dome that she created, and we are now learning that she's kind of holding that town hostage, and she's got everybody under mind control and everything. And they showed it's like a command center outside this dome, and they were looking at video stuff from before she was there, and there's video of her going into into I think it was S.H.I.E.L.D. She went into S.H.I.E.L.D. and she stole Vision's corpse. She stole it, and then I guess she somehow reanimated it over here. But he's even starting to kind of figure out that something's going wrong. He doesn't know who he is, doesn't have any memory of anything before being there, but he is starting to kind of go, this is kind of fucked up, man. And this chick's hot but weird. You know what I mean? WandaVision. And it's just holding up. This episode was Family Ties. It was kind of like Family Ties and Growing Pains in one. It was that genre, that type of sitcom, that multicam sitcom of the 80s that were so popular. But yeah, I think they're just doing such a great job with the show. It looks authentic every time they're in a different period. And the first episode was really impressive to me because it's hard to make something look old like that. With today's technology, I guess you can, but it's not. You could always tell. You know what I mean? You know, I didn't realize they had HD in 1958 or whatever the hell it was. But yeah, they're doing a great job on WandaVision, and I can't wait till next week's episode. All right, let's get to the toys. One more thing, though. Please subscribe, rate, review, hit the notification bell. Helps a lot. You can email me as well at itstheescapepod@gmail.com. And yeah, put your questions in there as well. Email me questions, email me ideas for episodes. In fact, today my brother and I were actually talking about what we'd want to do together. I'd have him in here in the pod, and we'd have a lot of fun doing that. So please tell your friends, rate, review, subscribe, notification. I just thought I wanted to keep saying words, but I didn't. I didn't have any more words. I'm gonna drink my tea before we talk about toys. The Beatles. My wife picked this up for me. It's really cool. It's got it there. And then it's got a silhouette of the Abbey Road. It's pretty sweet. Toys. My brother and I grew up. I refer to my brother and I as children of the 70s. A lot of people think 80s because we graduated high school in 89. Well, the 80s was our more preteen, teenage years. But we were kids in the 70s. Like I said before, when Star Wars came out in 77, my brother and I were only 6 years old. First movie we ever went to. And that's what really started this because there's levels of toys you get as you grow up. Men, we never stop getting toys. We always like toys. I still get toys. When you're little, the toys are kind of chosen for you. And they kind of throw things at you that squeak. And then like Slinkies. Then 6, 7, 8, 9. That's when you start knowing what you like, and you start seeing the stuff, and you want the toys you want. And of course, with the toys that my brother and I wanted right away was Star Wars toys. And Kenner was they went to Mattel first, and Mattel refused the licensing fee, which was something like I want to say it was $750,000. I think this is what I read. It was $750,000 for the licensing fee, and Mattel said, nah, big mistake. Kenner, which wasn't as big back then, took it on, and damn, man, it was just like so. It was just like kind of flowing out of there, all the toys. I mean, you look at the old action figure card backs, and the guys here in the plastic, but then you turn around and you can see, oh, okay, he's in this collection and he's in this collection. There's like 4 or 5 other guys, right? Star Wars ones, you would turn it over and it was like a freaking class picture. It was like a yearbook. That's what it looks like. It was like a yearbook from a strange place, from a galaxy far, far away. And it was just rows and rows and rows of all these little guys. And it was like, if you got two frames in a Star Wars film, you were an action figure, and they were just pumping them out, and and it was awesome though, because it took on that collector thing. That's what made it collect, because it was, there's more. I have to have them all, And first you get the main ones. I got Luke, I got Han, I got Leia, I got Kenobi, and I got Vader. That's all I need. Oh, and R2-D2 and C-3PO, and maybe 1 or 2 stormtroopers. That was your starter kit, But then after Empire comes out, you got to get all the bounty hunters. You got to get Bosk. You got to get IG-88. You definitely got to get Boba Fett. And if you were lucky enough to get the one, oh no, wait, it never went out to, but it's rare, the one that the Boba Fett action figure everybody knows about, where it shot a cannon. I guess it was deemed unsafe. You know what I mean? I would have loved to have been there at the at the study, at like what do they call those things? Focus group. I would love to have been there when the kid was like, oh, that's mean, but kind of.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
And then there were these, obscure guys that I think there was one. Remember that squid guy that had the squid face, kind of looked like Davy Jones? I don't even remember that guy moving when the camera passed by him. It was him, Bosk moved because remember he had his foot, and his foot was going like that, and then he growled. But yeah, some of those other guys, it could have been wax dummies. I don't know, but they got an action figure, And I had to have them all. My brother and I had to have them all. We would always get the ships as well. We had an X-wing fighter. We had a TIE fighter. We had a twin pods from Bespin. We didn't get a lot of sets. My brother and I were really into making our own. I remember one time we took all these stones and things and we put them all on the ground, and then we took a white sheet and put it over it and kind of let the sheet sink into the kind of the crevices of everything. So it was this white snowy landscape, and we had our own Hoth battle doing that on a sheet. It was so cool. It was the best. I actually have Star Wars toys now that I'm so happy about. I found them, and they're from a series that is so amazing. I think it's the Black Series, but they're so screen accurate. I have a TIE Fighter and a TIE Interceptor, but most incredible of all, Millennium Falcon. I have it. It's huge. I'll put my toys up here. You'll see them as I'm talking about them. I have, obviously, I have Stormtrooper armor, but I made that. Not the helmet, though. The helmet I bought, it's awesome. I have Poe Dameron's helmet, and it doesn't fit me, but it fits my wife. Let's see, I think there's some other stuff, too. I have that cannon that was at the Hoth battle. I got a handful of stormtroopers in that box. It was unbelievable. There's this organization, this group, Facebook group in Long Beach they call themselves Good Shit Long Beach, and that's what it is. They just have stuff and they put it out there, and whoever deems it to be good shit, they'll give it to them. They're free. And so this kid had a box of all these Star Wars toys that he had outgrown. But what I thought was really cool was that he wanted to give it to an adult. His mom wasn't quite as savvy as him, I guess, when she was like, just give it to the kids, they'll play with it. And he was like, no. I'm going to give it to someone who appreciates what it is. I thought that was really cool at 14 to think that way. But glad he did, because I have a friggin' Millennium Falcon now. Always wanted one. Always wanted a Falcon, man, when I was a kid. The first Star Wars toy, the ships though, the TIE Fighter, the X, they looked like toys. They didn't look like the TIE Fighter. The ion engines were smaller. It didn't look at all like the movie. So I never really got too bummed. I know they're collector, but I like the when they look authentic, like the screen. So yeah, my brother and I's big thing was Star Wars action figures and toys from Kenner. And the other one that I remember Jay and I really being into was Micronauts. I don't know if most of you have heard Micronauts. Micronauts was a toy. It was a toy line, and it was licensed from and based on another toy line by Takara called Microman. Microman, yeah, that's what it was. But they took it and they licensed it and redid it and called it Micronauts. And they were these interchangeable cool things where you could take stuff off of this guy, put it on that guy, and same with their vehicles and all that stuff. And Jay and I, we had a handful of those. And the cool thing about the Micronauts, though, is there is a little bit of chatter of them showing up in a Marvel in the Marvel MCU because they had a stint in Marvel Comics for a while. And when Marvel had them, they used the original guys, the original characters from the toy line, but then they also added some more. And they had a great storyline and everything that kind of ties in with Ant-Man a little bit. And that is that the Micronauts are from a place, they're from the Microverse, which is it's like a bunch of different kinds of habitats that are, how was it described? It was like woven together like a molecules, string, I don't know. But it's the Microverse is what they call it, but that's also, the quantum realm. And they alluded to that. And there has been talk about the Micronauts showing up. So I would love to see the Micronauts again. But Micronauts were cool. My brother and I we ate those things up. They were so fun, especially the interchanging part, because then you'd find a friend who had some, and you'd kind of trade off limbs. Hold on. I remember in the 70s, my brother and I lived in this apartment complex from about, I think it was from like 76 to 81 or something like that. But we were there, and the thing is about this apartment complex, though, is back then they didn't have a lot of discrimination laws, right? And there were actually not a lot of apartment complexes that would allow children. There would be apartments that were no adults only, no children allowed in these apartments. It's crazy, right? So when you would find one, which was the one we found, my parents found, of course there's going to be a ton of other kids there, which was cool. Halloween was insane. So all the other kids were around too, and they had their toys. Well, I remember in particular there were these two brothers, and their father, I think, worked for a toy company or something, and they were constantly taking out big boxes, and they would come out with their action figures of all different kinds of themes or whatever, and they just had this box of incredible toys that were from Japan and everything. And the ones that I remember the most, a lot of you guys will remember them too, is the Shogun Warrior. Remember those? There was like 3 of them, I think, and they were called Shogun, and their fists flew off, and one had horns, and they were like big action figures. Yeah, I remember he had those, and I was obsessed with the Shogun Warriors for a minute. Metalman. Metalman. That was another toy that I loved. It was exactly that. They were these action figures that were fully articulating in almost every joint, made of die-cast metal. And there were 4 or 5 of them. They had a little backstory too. I really don't recall that one, but I do know that my brother and I had a few of those things, and I remember taking it to restaurants and playing with it while we were waiting our food. My Metalman, he was cool. Now, the next big one, though, the one that was the obsession, again, kind of like Star Wars, was when Mattel was feeling like, shit, man, we really passed on this amazing thing with this Star Wars thing. We got to come up with something to compete with it now. And they did. And it was He-Man, Masters of the Universe. Remember that? He-Man was, it was this place, this realm, which, by the way, I love the word realm because it is the most nerdiest word ever. You can't use realm and not sound like a complete dork. I love that. But the realm that they lived in was Eternia. And Prince Adam was the alter ego of He-Man. And He-Man and his trusted partner, Man-at-Arms, and his battle cat. He had a battle cat that was like this giant cat with armor that he rode into battle. Now, when he was back into his alter ego state as Prince Adam, Battle Cat was Cringer. This was all in the cartoons too, I think. Wasn't really into those. I was more into just the action figures and the sets. And I remember each action figure had its own little miniature comic, kind of explaining the origin of its character and that. And can't forget his number one enemy, which was Skeletor. And I never knew when I was a kid. I found this out years later. Skeletor was his uncle, I guess. Everybody's got one. Everybody's got one of those uncles. Look at Simba. But Skeletor was, after the secrets of Castle Grayskull, and so that was Prince Adam, He-Man, and his crew, that they were protecting, the secrets of Castle Grayskull. And anytime Adam wanted to turn into He-Man, he would pull out a sword and, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power, and he would do this thing. But it was It was so cool though, because the action figures were like nothing we had seen, nothing. Everything else was kind of based on Star Wars, that 6-inch kind of format. Even though some had articulating limbs, some didn't. It was still that little thing. But the He-Man came out, and it wasn't like the old G.I. Joes. It was like halfway between. It was like this big, and they were ripped. They were like these like buff dudes, right? And their upper body, and you would twist their upper body and then let it go, and it would go shut like it was punching. So you turn them and you go, and of course you'd make them punch each other, and they just started coming out with cooler. It almost kind of did like a Star Wars thing where they were just so many characters. They were just coming out of there, and so many of them were so fun and cool. Of course, you got the original crew, which is Merman, Beastman. I think there was one called Stratos, one called Zodak was his name. Those guys. Then they started just kind of churning out characters. You know, they had Triclops, which was he had like, you know, one eye, but he had an eye here and an eye here as well, so he could be angry or happy or surprised. Anyway, he was Triclops, that was his name. And then there was, kind of on the same idea, there was a guy called Manny Faces. And he would have a knob on his thing, and you'd turn it, and he had like a helmet, but his face would go and change into different things. Hilarious. They had Lockjaw. He had like a metal jaw. Oh, God, there's so many. There's so many. I can't even remember all of them. But He-Man and the Masters of the Universe was a great, great toy. And that Castle Grayskull, my brother actually still has the Castle Grayskull that we had as kids. He still has it at his house. He has it, and with it is his son's, because when his son was younger, it kind of had a thing. The He-Man kind of came back or whatever. He had the newer Castle Grayskull, which was like badass. But my brother has our original one too. I should have him send me a picture, and then I'll show you guys. So yeah, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, great toy, great toy. I did. In my early teen, like 12, 13, 14, I started getting into, when I was younger, I was really into DC Comics. But then when I started kind of, you get a little more life experience, you get a little more aware of things, and the storytelling of Marvel to me kind of just captured me. But I have a set of those, of action figures from the Superpower collection. I have Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Flash, Shazam, and Firestorm. And they're pretty cool. I'll show them. I'm going to show all my toys. You'll see them. Can't touch them, though. Can't play with them. Because they're mine. Forgot to mention before, the Micronauts were by Mego. Mego Toy Corporation. They have a lot of really cool larger scale action figures from the Mego, and they got all kinds of different stuff from Japan, and pretty cool toy line. Obviously Kenner's the one that did the Star Wars, and Mattel. So here I am now at 50, and I'm starting to collect toys again. With a whole new appreciation for them. I really am looking out for a screen accurate AT-AT at Walker. I do have an ATST, and I have a cool one too. This one, it's the one from the Mandalorian episode where the guys that were attacking that town, they repurposed the ATST and had it all painted and stuff. I actually have that one. I remember also we had a Star Trek, the bridge of the USS Enterprise, and it was that kind of puffy plastic, like they used to make the Peachy Folk. The Trapper Keepers, and it was kind of like that. And it opened up, and it had all these great details. And we had to few the guys and everything, and they were kind of like big like that. And because it wasn't Star Wars, me and my brother didn't care. We did not give a shit about no Treks. We didn't care. It just sat in the corner. Barely got played with. And I have no clue where it is. I have no clue where it went, which kind of sucks, because even though I'm not really into the old Star Trek now. I mean, the Abrams stuff, forget about it, stuff's awesome, but that toy is considered, to collectors, is considered one of the holy grails of toys. I saw a television show where it sold for, I think it was sold for like 10 grand or something like that. This friggin' plastic set. But Jay and I want anything to do with it because it wasn't Star Wars. That's hilarious. I remember we also had our Star Wars Christmas, which was, we still call it that, and everything we got was Star Wars except for that, except for the Enterprise bridge. It was no Millennium Falcon. But yeah, we each had, you know, oh, that was another great thing is we each had a Han Solo blaster. And to me, it looked like the one in the movie. It looked so cool, and it made sounds and everything, you know. And those were great. Those were really fun as well. So, you know, that's pretty much all I got to say about toys. And again, please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, of course. Tell all your buddies. Hit the notification button, and you'll know what's coming up. Email me with any ideas, questions, anything, comments, whatever. I have a lot of time. It's theescapepod@gmail.com. It's theescapepod@gmail.com. So hit me up, and pretty soon we're gonna have some merch. We're gonna have some T-shirts with the Escape Pod logo on it, and those are gonna be coming out really soon. I'll keep you posted on that. So. All right. Thanks so much again. Thanks a lot, Escapers, for hanging out with me. I have fun talking about toys, man. I'll talk about toys all day. So I'm not quite sure. I always kind of, I noticed at the end of some of these episodes, I kind of give you a little hint about what's going to happen in the next one. But I'm not quite sure yet because I got a couple ideas. So I'm gonna decide. So we're going to let this one be a surprise. So, and hopefully you will be there with me in the Escape Pod with all the other Escapers. And hopefully there's going to be more and more and more. Thanks again, guys. This is so fun for me. And I'll see you next time in the Escape Pod.